a month ago, so we're gonna watch it. I have not seen it yet, so let's see what it's about.
The user manual, and sometimes we don't have the tools we need to navigate life's stressors. Luckily, working with a therapist can help you gather those tools. Visit betterhelp.com/super and navigate life with a little more ease. Hey, brother! Guys, back in 2012, we made a video called The Pixar Theory, and unbeknownst to us at the time, it would change our lives, this channel,
Haven't seen it
and
forever.
the music industry forever. Everything is part of the Pixar Theory. Okay, definitely not the music industry, but it is available on iTunes if you're interested. But since then, anytime Pixar has produced a new movie, we have produced a new video to add that chapter to the Pixar Theory, explaining how each new movie fits in. But hey, we get it. Maybe you missed one or two of those videos over the years. Maybe you didn't see every single Pixar movie.
Right.
And with 26 different movies out now,
26?
it can be hard to keep track of every single thing. So today, we're simplifying things and making a brand new, updated, complete Pixar Theory, including everything from Toy Story through Lightyear, which turned out to just be a movie inside of Toy Story. That's how Lightyear fits in. This is
So the fifth?
Pixar Theory.
So there's definitely 5:30. So there's definitely 5 Toy Stories. Yeah, then there was about 2 names made.
The Pixar Theory. By now, I'm sure you've heard of it, but
Nope.
in case you're new, I'm sure you're at least familiar with the idea that Pixar loves to put little Easter eggs in all their movies, little nods and references to all of their other works.
Like the
Pixar
first film.
Theory is the idea that all these little Easter eggs are more than just nods and references and winks at the audience. They are proof that every single movie
Well, technically, there's only one item. There's 2 items that Pixar has been using for the past 40 years. I mean, Pixar's been around for at least 40 years now. What 2 items do they use in Pixar? Well, Pixar uses the Pizza Planet truck and the ball from Luxor Jr. Everyone knows that. It's always the ball or it's always the Pizza Planet vehicle. That's one thing that's always in every single Pixar film. Actually, Luxor Jr. and the Pizza Planet truck are the only 2 things they see all the time in Pixar films. I know from the experience of watching movies.
Pixar creates exists in the same universe, on the same timeline. So, for example, you can see Riley from Inside Out at the aquarium in Finding Dory, so they must exist in the same place, right? And then in Finding Nemo, you can see this kid reading a comic book of The Incredibles, and there's a Buzz Lightyear at his feet, so I guess Toy Story is in there as well. And then speaking of The Incredibles, you can see Duke Kaboom in Jack's room right here, so The Incredibles are looped in as well, and you can see how it all builds on itself. But the real part of the Pixar Theory is realizing that if it's one universe,
2
then
things.
there must be a through line, a plot that's happening across
It's the Pizza Planet truck and the tire.
What is that plot? And as ever,
Pizza Planet truck and the ball is
we
always
did
in the
not
films.
invent the Pixar Theory.
Most
It was
films.
originally introduced to the world by a man named John Negroni. He actually even wrote a book about it. But since then, the internet has of course gone crazy with it, and there are tons of different interpretations and versions of it out there. So the version you're going to hear today is the one that we have come to accept and build upon over the past 10 years here at Super Carlin Brothers. We don't count any of the shorts, sparks, or shows, just the movies.
Okay.
Let's go. The movies, of course, don't
So the
come
balls
out
count.
in chronological order. We'll have to put them in order ourselves. The first one on the timeline is The Good Dinosaur. Although
Never
I
seen
could
it.
argue Soul is the first one. Soul is kind of happening all of the time and none of the time, and time just works weird in that movie. So we're starting with The Good Dinosaur. It is particularly important to the Pixar Theory because of this moment right here, where the asteroid misses the Earth. This tiny non-event right here is the catalyst for everything that happens in the Pixar universe. It's why the Pixar universe is so similar to our own, but also slightly different. And the first big change is pretty obvious. It's how much more the dinosaurs were able to develop since the asteroid missed. Arlo and his family have developed intelligence, agricultural practices, they're building homes, they farm the land. But, as they say in Brave, you can't escape your fate. And so even though the dinosaurs bought themselves a couple extra million years by the asteroid missing, they're still doomed. Not by an asteroid, however, but simply by weather, which in the movie is already causing catastrophic problems. Climate change. Who knew? For example, the pterodactyls used to be able to hunt, but now they have to follow the storm in order to scavenge food. The T-Rexes have to herd animals to provide themselves a steady food supply, but food is so short that they're under constant threat of losing their herd to raptors. But on the other hand, we also get an early glimpse at human life on the planet in the form of Spot, who proves that even the youngest humans are extremely resourceful in ways that the dinosaurs just aren't. What The Good Dinosaur establishes for the Pixar universe, though, is something we're going to continue to see through the timeline as a whole. It's this idea that any animal that doesn't get domesticated, like rats or insects or basically anything underwater, will develop some level of intelligence. Heck, even in The Good Dinosaur, you can see different levels of domestication with the chickens.
Yesterday, he said Footless Fran was the worst.
He's only got 1 foot.
But hey, that's not the only way an animal might gain intelligence, right? You might also be a human who was magically turned into a bear. That's right. Next up, we turn to the movie with mother-daughter strife, where the main character has red hair and someone gets turned into a giant bear. I'm speaking, of course, of Brave. I know, can you believe it? Isn't it weird that somehow there is more than one movie with this exact plot? Well, not.
Never watched Turn Inside Out because it was stupid. Some movies are titles I've never seen because they're stupid. Because they're too girly.
Not if you understand the Pixar theory. Otherwise, it's kind of weird that even a single movie exists with this plot. But honestly, I'm kind of surprised it took this long for another movie like this to come out, because not only are the plots similar, but so is all of the magic involved in turning someone into a bear. Real sentences I say for my job. Thank you for watching. Both situations involve a character from the past searching for power, Soon Yi in turning red to protect her family, and Mordu in Brave for conquest, and both are granted this power in the exact same form. Giant bear. Mordu gets it from the witch in Brave, and Soon Yi gets it from the gods, apparently? Or does she? More on that later. But let's talk about the witch, because the witch's workshop is by far the most curious thing about this movie, especially as it relates to the Pixar theory. For one, it introduces us to magic, which is our first glimpse of things behaving in ways that they're not supposed to. Her crow can talk to humans, her door doesn't work the way I've ever known doors to work, and the witch herself seems pretty adept at wielding magic. But she is obviously also not the source of it. For example, her knives and other sharp objects are quick to turn on her when Merida offers her a valuable piece of jewelry, suggesting they have some mind of their own outside of the witch's control. Or who knows, maybe she's just not speaking with enough heart's fire. Am I right, Barley?
Your heart's fire. You must speak with passion. Don't hold back.
Never seen that shit.
Indeed, Barley. But the other important bit of magic we see that the witch can do is the power to change someone's fate. Here's how Merida describes fate. Some say our destiny is tied to the land, as much a part of us as we are of it. Others say fate is woven together like a cloth, so that one's destiny intertwines with many others. It's the one thing we search for, or fight to change. Some never find it, but there are some who are led. One's destiny intertwines with many indeed. Wonder who that's about. But anyway, let's get back to bear magic. There's obviously some key differences between turning red and Brave. Obviously, like, one is a giant red panda and the other is black bear. And that Soon Yi is able to go back and forth between human and panda, whereas Mordu just sort of gets stuck as black bear. But there's quite a number of similarities as well. For example, both sets of bears have a certain darkness to them. I mean, Mordu is basically in full dark mode all the time, even though when he dies, you can see the human spirit inside of him is actually much more at peace, which sort of suggests that somewhere along the way, the bear or primal darkness or something overtook the man. It's like the scene in Turning Red where Malin is going through the mirror and there's like a big struggle. It's like the bear won that and is the one who's left on the outside. Merida's mom also shows moments of advancing towards darkness throughout the movie, and we see Mei Lin totally lose her cool on Tyler when he calls her freak. Not to mention, Ming as giant Godzilla panda. Even how you
Never seen
undo
the show.
the bear spell is super similar. Both somehow involve a celestial-based time limit. For Merida, it's before the second sun rises, and for Mei Lin, it's before the end of the red moon. Then stand inside of a physical circle and sing with your heart. Oh, right, sorry, heart's fire.
My what? Your heart's fire. You must speak with passion.
This separates the bear spirit from the body. Man, even that, a soul entering or exiting a body after a circle is drawn on the ground, why does What does that sound familiar? I'm telling you guys, it's like all these movies are connected or something. Oh wait, that's why you're here. And yes, I know nobody in Brave is actually singing, but they are standing in a stone circle and everyone is wishing with all of their heart that Merida's mom is going to come back. Okay, fine, we also don't know if that's what they're thinking, but if you don't think that Merida has enough heart fire on her own to bring her mother back in this situation, then you need to go watch the movie again. And I mean, just compare the separated soul from the bear in each movie. I mean, it's just this translucent ghost of the person who used to live. Coincidence?
I think not.
Thank you, Bernie. But okay, so magic exists, souls exist, humans and animals are capable of intelligence. What happens next? Machines. Yes, machines. And in fact, power struggle between humans, animals, and machines is what takes up the big rest of the others in any particular way. It's just that as certain group rise, it's usually at the cost of the others.
I wish
But
I could
say
tell
others
you everything's
pretty
based
loosely
in to
here
make it
because
easier on
for
us.
the animals, their ship sailed dinosaurs. Like, that was their time, and from there on out, everything's pretty much downhill, but we'll get into that more later. For now, let's focus on the introduction of the machines, which happens in The Incredibles, which takes place somewhere around the 1950s and 60s. Here we see the supers, who live in a world of constant fear and crime and do their best to fight it, until one day they get outlawed. But not before the best of all of them, Mr. Incredible, offends his biggest fan, Buddy Pine, aka Syndrome. Turns out this day had a pretty massive impact. Little did Bob Parr know that by not entertaining little Buddy's fandom in this moment, he would alter the course of the entire world pretty immensely. Because the end result is that young Budford retreats home, locks himself in his room, and invents artificial intelligence in the form of the Omnidroids, lethal robots he uses to try and kill off all the supers so that he can pretend to be one. Too bad for him, though, the machines end up being smart enough to defeat even him. Thankfully, the Incredibles are able to step in and defeat the Omnidroid anyway, but it's too late. The damage is done. AI...
This is the truck that helps keep families safe.
So we're saying late
And the
40s,
truck
early
that helps
50s
you
then.
get far from home.
So
This
so
is the
late
truck
40s,
of
early
the
so mid
outdoors.
so late 40s, early
The early
50s.
adopters and the rising generation.
AI has been introduced to the world. And this event marks the beginning of the end for the humans in terms of power on the planet for quite some time, and even marks the beginning of the end for the end of magic on planets abroad, but we'll come back to that one. However, despite this being the spark that lights the flame, the humans don't lose power immediately or anything. Interestingly, the animals do start to emerge as a bit of a power, but never really take the driver's seat. Well, except that one time when Dory literally drives a truck off a cliff. I mean, I know it's
Never
a movie
seen
about
it.
talking fish, but for some reason, this moment I feel like is really where they, jumped the whale shark. Man, they literally did that. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, though, another movie is happening around this time. Luca. Now, if
Never
you
seen
recall,
Luca.
At the end of Luca, Luca and Alberto are revealed to be sea monsters, a revelation that the people of Porto Rosso accept and embrace almost immediately. Which is like, fine, good for them for being so open-minded, but I
Never seen
do
Luca.
feel like it happens kinda super duper fast for a town with a statue of a man killing a sea monster, right there in the middle of it. But now we're good. Instead, let's go ahead and make these two sea monsters the champions of this year's pasta triathlon. And if that doesn't say progress, then I don't even know what the point of a pasta triathlon even is. That said, maybe part of the reason they weren't as surprised by this sudden revelation of sea monsters is because they're used to sort of supernatural things happening in the world, like superpowers, which we know are things happening all around the world because of how the end of Incredibles 2 goes. But what also lines up really nicely for Luca in terms of the Pixar theory is the cleanliness of the water. I mean, sure, Alberto is littering up a storm at the beginning of the movie, but for the most part, it's very clean, which is in harsh contrast to Pixar movies taking place closer to present day, where if you see underwater, it is horribly polluted anywhere it's near humans. And this is sort of a sure sign of things to come. But actually, let's take an even closer look underwater, because there's another bit of big consistency within the universe happening. You may have noticed that the fish in Luca are not quite as smart as the other fish we see like in Finding Nemo. Instead, they're more like sheep. So, what gives? And actually, we already went over it. It's because the fish in Luca have been domesticated by the sea monsters, much like the chickens were domesticated by the dinosaurs in The Good Dinosaur. But you might be wondering about now, where did the sea monsters come from? And that is a very good question, and we will definitely answer it in a little bit. It is quite important. But we did mention Finding Nemo, so for now, let's move on to our next set of movies within the timeline, which are the Toy Stories, Inside Out, Finding Nemo / Dory, Ratatouille, and Up. Actually, Turning Red takes place around this time as well, but we already sort of talked about Turning Red, so. Anyway, Finding Nemo shows us just how much the fish, similar to the dinosaurs, have advanced in intelligence in the absence of humans. They have school systems, traffic lights, a real estate market.
Because a lot of other clownfish had their eyes on this place.
You better believe they did. Every single one of them.
Not only that, but we also see a lone fish successfully circumnavigate the globe, find his son, and another group of fish overpower a human. But not all animals are out to fend off humans. Instead, in Ratatouille, we see that Remy works alongside humans to great effect. He literally becomes the greatest chef on Earth, which is pretty impressive when you consider that until then, cooking was exclusively a human activity. But I guess I should note that while Remy is an exceptional rat, he's also an exception to the rule. The rest of his family totally sees humans as the enemy, and in the very near future, that is going to become very true. In the meantime, though, the fact that Remy the rat is actually the greatest chef on Earth is a secret known only to 4 humans by the end of Ratatouille: Linguini, Colette, Anton Ego, and Chef Skinner. And Chef Skinner does not like Remy, and he promptly blabs to the press about the rats in the kitchen. And most people are just grossed out by this and decide never to eat there again, which I guess they can't anyway because they closed down the restaurant. But a very clever person may have noticed that the rats coincided exactly with renowned critic Anton Ego's review of Gusto's, claiming it as the best meal he ever had, and put 2 and 2 together. And do we ever see anyone else being served food by animals?
As Epsilon is the finest chef I've ever had.
Charles Muntz, the man literally waging war on animals, or, well, a specific animal.
Wait a minute.
A prehistoric animal, I might add, which, per the Pixar theory, has become
Wait a minute.
incredibly intelligent.
Up. Up is based in the 1930s or 20s. Now, when Charles broke his arm, okay, that was the 20s or 30s, because the ambulance that Charles is in is a 1920s or 30s ambulance in Up. So it starts in the 1930s and ends in modern day. Kinda. Yeah, Up. Up is based in 1920s/30s because of the ambulance, and Movietown News, which Movietown News is still around, I think. I'm not really sure if it is, but yeah. Up. Okay, movie Up. The copy I have, okay, you can tell the movie Up. Well, if I don't know if I still have a copy of it or not. I don't know if I still have a copy of it. Either way, guys, Up, okay? Movietown News was around, I think it's still around, I'm not sure. I haven't heard about it since the Vietnam War, I think. I haven't heard about it since MASH. But, Movietown News, okay? They're still around, I think, I'm not sure. But, think of it, though. 1920s, 30s ambulance that Charles ended up in, and Charles Muntz had a Zeppelin. So, that narrows it down to the 20s and 30s, because Zeppelins were popular in the 20s and 30s. So,
and evaded capture for 70 plus years. And that's evading
See?
capture from a guy
70
who,
plus
by
years.
his 20s, already had a dirigible full of some of the world's rarest artifacts. And that's apparently not even half of his collection. But how smart is Kevin? I mean, he's up against Muntz, who recognizes the potential intelligence of his dogs and invents collars that allow him to directly talk to them. Again, it totally fits. Animals like fish, rats, and Kevins, who have been ignored by humans, have developed intelligence. Meanwhile, dogs who have been domesticated, like Buster in Toy Story, have not. But Muntz seems to have found the bridge between the two and has hyper-smart dogs capable of cooking food and flying airplanes. Man, I tell you, Up is a weird movie sometimes. If it's even happening at all. Full video of a credit card. But Up is important as it does introduce some other big players to the Pixar theory, namely BNL, aka Biden, the corporate face of the machine, quietly at work in the background since The Incredibles. B&Ls. If you don't know, B&L is actually the company that is trying to buy Carl's house and force him out of the city at the beginning of the movie. And B&L shows up a bunch in Pixar, I mean, most notably in WALL-E, but also here in Toy Story 3, where you can see that they produce the batteries inside of Buzz. And actually, there's a bunch of little Easter eggs connecting up in Toy Story. Like, you can see Lotso and the little girl from Sunnyside in this room right here. The green soda cap that Carl wears as the Ellie badge can be seen as a commercial in Sid's dad's room. And of course, there's the infamous postcard on Andy's bulletin board from the mysterious Emma Jean, who I do not have time to talk about right now, but let me just say I spent the better part of my mid-20s investigating the... And actually, there's a bunch of little Easter eggs connecting up in Toy Story. Like, you can see Lotso and the little girl from Sunnyside in this room right here. The grape soda cap that Carl wears as the Ellie badge can be seen as a commercial in Sid's dad's room. And of course, there's the infamous postcard on
PD. Oh. Carl and Ellie. I can't remember his last name. 18 something QD. QD or is it DD? Bloomington PD. 67913. That narrows it down. 6-7. That narrows it down. So it's a fake city. But wait, Charles' address is 18, yeah. So, when did Carl die? Carl died. Well, Carl died before the trip even happened. Carl died before Up even existed. He died a couple hours before the Chinese... According to what it sounds like, people say he passed away before anything happened. Carl died before the trip even started. Carl died the night before Ellie and him... Now, according to what I heard, guys, Carl died a couple hours before. Carl was supposed to die at midnight. According to what I've heard, Carl was supposed to have died at midnight. People are saying Carl died before midnight. Died at midnight when those guys were supposed to pick him up. Carl died a couple hours about midnight when Carl died.
Andy's bulletin board from the mysterious Emma Jean, who I do not have time to talk about right now, but let me just say I spent the better part of my mid-20s investigating this unseen character, and eventually took the question all the way to Pete Docter himself. Wild ride. But while we're on Toy Story and batteries, let's pause, because it's our first great example of one of the bigger concepts of the Pixar theory, which is how humans are used across it, which is to say, as batteries. Sort of. It's more like the power of human memory has the ability to bring things to life. But like, this is the answer for how toys come to life and why they are afraid of being forgotten by their owners, because their owners are literally their life source. Coco actually gives us an extremely good breakdown for how this all works, and I'll explain that in a minute, but for now, just start thinking of humans as batteries. Where humans are, there's life. Where humans are not, there's not. At least when it comes to inorganic things like toys or machines or cars. On the other hand, when it comes to animals, humans' involvement is typically not so great. We get to see the start of the humans' real effect on the planet in Finding Dory, when Marlin...
I'm done watching this crap. I'm not watching any more of this crap. Because my head's starting to hurt. So I'm not watching any more of that crap. That crap is annoying. Clear. I'm gonna go to my channel and see what's going on my channel right now. Because after a while it gets annoying and stuff. But yeah, see here what do we got here. Shorts. My being a dippy. Full Metal Alchemist. Ugh. Beast Complex. That's over with. That's over with. That's over with. This and that. I'll watch this for a little bit. I'm not watching this one. I'm gonna watch the one with the boat. The boat one's funny. Now, I tried watching the Pixar Theory, guys. It makes no sense. My head started hurting. So, yeah. I wish I had the money, guys, to be a proper YouTuber.
We did it with more rental listings than anybody else.
So,
Just
2
enough
o'clock,
people
which
to
will be
find
soon.
Everything you were looking for in a
In half an hour, 2 o'clock, I have to shit around and get
look at this
going.
place. It's got 12-foot ceilings.
Because I got stuff to do today at 4, and trust me, guys,
This is
it's something to nervous about doing.
longest fair, taking us 97 hours to get
90
from Bellingham,
a
Washington
week.
to Whittier, Alaska.
97 hours.
That's 5 nights, 6 days
That's a
on
week.
board a ferry.
That's practically a
costs more
week.
than a cruise, but has fewer amenities. Welcome to the Alaska Marine Highway System.
How am I trying it?
Like traveling by train from Miami to Alaska, which has brought me here.
I want to ride a steam engine real bad.
I
really want to ride a steam engine, guys.
Going to Alaska.
Guys, I really want to ride a steam engine real bad, though, guys. If I get the money, guys,
Last Amtrak stop.
that's what I'll do, guys. Guys, if I get a play button, guys, I will ride a steam engine.
To the ferry we're taking.
That's what I need to do.
There. And for the ending of this series, I've invited the hardest working team I know to enjoy it with me. There they are. They're here. They beat me. Hey, buddy. Hey, guys. You made it. We did.
That's why I'm going to post real quick, guys, so don't
Make
forget.
all of this happen. Oh! We're going to make this quick as possible. Matt and Warwick, they've worked on the series
the silver play button.
tirelessly, episodes 1 through 8, and now they get to ride along and enjoy episodes 9 and 10. Just think first things first. Check in. I booked us the small interior berth, but figured I'd ask if there's an upgrade possible. There isn't a 4-berth cabin available, is there? Yeah. Wait,
When we get a silver play button, we'll ride a steam engine.
4-bed.
Smiley,
Less money.
smiley face.
We saw this in last episode too when we got upgraded last minute. Always ask. Always ask. Thank you. Thank you. So let's board and take a look at this fine vessel. All the way across America by train. We're about to board this and continue northwest. The MS Kennecott will be our home for the next 5 nights. To boat up or not to boat up? That is the question. I feel like that's going to be our line for the rest of this
When
episode.
we get a silver play button, we'll ride a steam engine.
This is where we're going to get our room key. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Let's check out our room. Welcome to our berth aboard the MV Kennecott. Welcome aboard.
I think you pushed.
Oh, it's a push. Okay, all right. So we've got bed here. Bed here.
When we get the
Window,
silver play
which is what we
button,
want, the views.
we'll ride a
This is
steam engine.
Huge bathroom, sink, toilet, shower.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Okay. So there's 2 beds and there's 3 of us. Oh, looks like we've got some life jackets here.
And what Warwick and I have just learned is there's no door to the bathroom.
Nope.
Just this curtain. 5 days, 3 guys.
I knew that'd be something.
This is our home.
That's
for the next
definitely something I
5
need
nights.
to
Should
do.
we
That's what
look
I'm going
around
to
the
post
rest
on
of the
YouTube.
boat? This is a 9-deck
When we
vessel.
get the silver
380
play
feet long and can
button,
hold up to
we will ride a
750
steam engine.
passengers. Best spot to watch the takeoff. This momentous moment. 5 nights on board. Let's make the
Live?
trains go
Question
by.
mark?
The back of the boat. Here we go. And right on time, we're untied and now officially leaving the lower 48 and headed to the largest state in America. I'm just realizing
see how many people
that we have
read that-
over
like that post.
1,300 miles
Okay,
to journey on
so
this
if you like
ferry,
that
and
post.
still have another week until I get to the most northern train station. Yet I've crossed through 28 states and traveled over 7,000 miles by train.
That's something I can't believe I'm going to put that on the list. If people like that, yippee. If they don't like it, too bad.
Check out this huge ship.
These are people like-
150. That is a big lifeboat. Oh yeah.
Let's see how people like that. So, Pixar Theory sucks, so now we're going to watch this, which is pretty cool to watch.
Pay for a room. Sleep here. It's warm. You are allowed to camp on the outdoor decks. There are a lot of different seating areas. This is the aft lounge. This is the lower aft lounge. This is nice. Good place to read and just watch the view. And this is the forward lounge. I guess we'll be doing a lot of sitting on this trip. Let's go see what's on level 7. This is the one with everything, really. So this is the food court eating area. Wait, what? There's a bar on board. A couple of entertainment areas.
Okay, bar.
Board games. And the movie theater. Let's not look yet. Let's come in for 7 o'clock because they're playing Alaska's Inside Passage. Very, very fitting.
I'm not watching that.
Wow, 5 days of this? Pretty good.
It'd be boring as hell.
We're already bored, and there isn't any Wi-Fi for us for the next 5 days. Now, if you are camping and you don't have a room with a shower, there's a bathroom here that has showers inside, as such. But there's also a washing and dryer machine, which is perfect for me because today's video is sponsored by True Earth. Now, I've been on the trains for the last 8 weeks, so I keep True Earth laundry
Now,
strips in my bag.
I need to get a hold of Z later. I need to get a hold of little Z later and tell him, hey, I moved our junk to our, I moved the junk everything to a new house.
Compostable, biodegradable.
Make it happen.
It's so easy to use. What I love about the True Earth Eco Strips, other than getting a full 32
Besides
loads,
making,
that's just a
I mean,
simple
you see here.
envelope, is that one strip does enough for an entire load of laundry. And if you have a big load or a really stinky load, you use 2 strips. And the best part for me, while traveling,
like
you can
pods.
work in both top loading machines and front loading machines, as well as in hot water or cold water. Basically,
Like
any
pod-
machine
like Tide
is all
Pods.
complete. So
Huh.
if you want to try them for yourself, got a little 10%
wait
discount
a while.
Click the link
Try
in the
those.
description down below.
But
and
today's gonna be a
discount
great
code
day, and I'm
Johnny
gonna have so much
for
fun.
10% off, and help remove plastic from the household. So thank you, True Earth, for sponsoring today's video.
I must have used liquid,
Welcome
guys.
to dinner. There is a cafeteria on board where we'll be eating all of our meals.
Ooh,
It's
that's
simple
pretty.
with kind of a cool retro
Wow,
style that
that's
you would
cool.
expect on a ferry to Alaska. But what I didn't expect
North
is the daily
to
specials board with
Alaska.
a rotating menu
Ooh,
of freshly cooked
pulled pork.
meals. And it was so good. I mean, we almost always choose it. Tonight, there are 2 specials, and we ordered both.
Here's the pot roast.
Barbecue pulled pork pasta, please.
Ooh, pulled
First meal
pork.
on the ferry.
Ooh, I'm going to yours today.
Now, even the Brussels sprouts are good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't like Brussels sprouts.
Oh my god. Wow. That's a lot of flavor. For ferry food for the next 4 nights after tonight, we're happy. Yeah. I have to admit, that is a huge relief that the food is good.
15 bucks though, that's not bad.
On this trip, we'll spend the first 2 days passing through Canada. You don't need a passport
Oh, no.
for this trip because the boat doesn't stop in Canada. But I live in Vancouver, so it's weird to be this close to my home city and not stop. As we continue northbound past Vancouver, we get this amazing sunset to kind of set us
Oh,
off
that's
for the
pretty.
beginning of this trip. Holy, what a night.
Why not?
And we actually end up racing one of my local BC ferries. But at this moment, I'm not in a rush. These are the moments that never last longer. And so, after being
Ooh,
apart
pull
for
the
2 months,
camera.
it's time to just kind of catch up and hang out in our room. I mean, there's no Wi-Fi or anything else to do. They wanted to hear all about the trip. And as you've already seen, well, I had a lot to tell. All right, guys.
If I had even if I had 2 bars on my cell phone, I'd have posted a video. Come on, guys, even a few bars on your cell phone.
We should go.
A cocaine-induced bear.
Cocaine Bear, rated R.
What the hell? A cocaine bear? That's one of the last things you want to see happen. That isn't as bad.
Cheese can't win. So we got him someone who can. Cheese wins. Cheese it.
Yeah, I know it won't work. But you know what, though? That does not sound healthy for the bear.
Pretty well. It's a slower rock.
That's less dangerous. That's less bad. Having a bear get drunk is not as bad. Yeah, I've seen the videos online where people say that bear gets drunk on pop or beer. That's not as bad. Oh, wow, it is snowing outside.
The thing is, once we're done eating, we don't really have anything to do. It's 11:30 in the morning, and we're still sitting around the breakfast table because I kind of have nowhere else to go or anything to do. And yet something tells me a day on a ferry is not any ordinary day. There, whales! There it is! Oh, wow! That's a tail! Ah! And we decided to take a late morning session in the room. Some working, some reading, some napping. I won't say who's doing what. Hey, give me a break, will you? After 2 months on the road, I need a nap. And before you know it, It's time to eat
Yeah,
again.
I gotta get tonight too, darn it. Looks like I gotta get tonight as well. Wow, I gotta turn my camera tonight
As we
before I
come to
go
one of the narrowest
downtown
segments of
tomorrow.
the
I have to go downtown
This
tomorrow.
stunning
It is
landscape
ice
gets
shit.
a lot closer to us. And with that,
But
we
you
can
will.
see some of the small coastal communities up here as well.
What is that? Look at that ship. Is that a massive yacht or a small cruise ship? I feel like we're being hunted down. But apart from that,
Woo!
it's so peaceful out here. No cell service, no buildings, just nature.
I'm gonna have at least
This
one.
might be one of the
Come
narrowest
on.
stretches we go through on our way to Alaska. And not
North
only do we have
to
big yachts
Alaska,
chasing us and
north
catching up to
zone,
us, but
north.
we've caught up to a BC ferry. And because it's so narrow, none of us can pass. We're just tagging
North
Even though we're on
to
a ferry and not a cruise ship, the nice thing is we still get the exact same
Beach search
experience
on.
that-
I'm gonna do beach search later tonight, maybe.
This is insane.
I should add, Warwick is from Australia, if you can't tell by his accent, so...
Good day, mate.
I've never seen anything like
Good
this
day, mate.
before. This is just...
North to Alaska, the North Zone.
Compliment, my friend. There's a lot more of this coming.
I'm sure it's not really coming from the camera. I hope it translates well, but like this is just...
Wow. I don't know
This
what
does not
she's on.
look real.
No. I really have to say, I think this might be the best way to travel to Alaska, because instead of just flying in and being there, you have 5 days of buildup of the landscape changing from what is Washington State through all of British Columbia and
Yeah, I
ending
feel
in
like
the
we still
massive
do that really
Alaska.
nice.
And you get to spend 5 days going through that.
I feel like we have this
I need the bus to work. Our reason to
So
the bus
cool.
now.
I've never seen you smile that big before. You're happy.
But right now, I get the week
We
off. This is my
spent
week
all
off.
afternoon on the
This is
deck,
the week I
just
get off.
taking it all in. While looking out at the mountains, and
North
water,
to
it's hard for me
Alaska.
not to recognize
North
how
to North
varied
is-
the landscape in the United States is. From the orange groves of Florida, to the beautiful green Amish country of Pennsylvania, to the misty mountain of New Hampshire, the lonely desert of the Lone State, the red rocks of Utah, the high altitude thin air of Pikes Peak, the canyons of Colorado, and the incredible Grand Canyon. It's so varied and so vast. I mean, America really does offer it all. And back here on the boat, crossing through Canada, I can feel it. The excitement for Alaska is growing.
I am looking forward to the train trip in Alaska. That's a classic Downey adventure.
That you haven't done yet.
I've edited. I've seen so much footage of
Yeah.
trains, but I've never been on a train trip.
And now we're doing it.
I love the train.
I hate to leave this. There should be dinner. There you go. Thank you very much. We
Yum.
checked the same meal. 3 baked chickens. All right. But
Baked
tonight,
chicken?
we're gonna try the bar.
This small bar is only open in the evening and is the social gathering spot for everyone on board. I mean, really, it's just a change of scenery from the other sitting areas on board, but it is a nice way to end the day.
Feels like a small town bar.
Yeah, it really does.
So
Yeah, like the Colin bar.
Serves beer and wine.
Bar
Of which
Coleman.
we got one of each. What's your ferry experience?
It's very exciting.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Been sitting on that one for.
I looked it up later.
24
What's legal to
hours
drink
now.
in Canada?
All right, you've had 2 sips of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah,
How's your ferry experience?
it's very exciting.
No, great experience actually. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do, no service, good friends. Is that one too many wines, or is this the boat rocking you, Matt? I guess what's next is we have a little surprise in the morning. We're gonna be able to go onto land today. This is
Land
Ketchikan.
ho!
Last night we crossed back into the United States, and well, we're gonna get about 3 hours on land.
When I booked these tickets, I knew the ferry made stops along the way, but I didn't think that we'd be able to get off.
We haven't been down here in 2 days. Day 3, getting to go outside. I don't know what I expected. This is a very Alaska day. This feels kind of like a bigger moment than I expected. This is my first time setting foot on Alaska ground. Spent the last 2 months traveling across the country by train for this moment. I don't feel much different.
I still feel like I'm moving a little bit.
We're in Alaska.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because we're not on a cruise ship, there aren't any day trips or expeditions planned for us. You are welcome to get off the boat, but what you do is up to you.
I'm going to spend some time in the appropriately named Ketchikan Misty Fjord here in the Tongass National Forest. Holy, Look at the Eagles, right down here on the main street. I don't know if I've ever been so close to one before.
Clearly, we were very unprepared. We decided to walk into town and we just sort of picked a coffee shop as a destination.
Yeah. I see you, baby. Now, we've walked 45 minutes, 2 miles, and we found the coffee shop we're looking for. Yeah, I think I'd like a latte, please.
And it's pretty clear that we are not the only visitors here today.
Something tells me this cruise ship is bigger than our ferry.
Ketchikan, Alaska is a small town with a population of about 8,000 people, which more than doubles when the cruise ships stop in port.
These are some big boats coming into this little town.
But it's also Alaska's first city. And I suppose that's because it's the first stop when you come by boat. But it's also the salmon capital of the world.
This is where the salmon run. Upstream.
Salmon capital
Just
of the
not
world.
this time of year.
No fish swimming upstream today, but we did see a harbor seal.
This is wild.
A harbor
Alaska
seal?
Already. This is what I imagined of Ketchikan, a little like fishing village. So this apparently is the historic red light district, or it says Dear Dolly's house, where both men and salmon came upstream to spawn.
1919.
So apparently prostitution was legal here from 1903 to 1953, but alcohol was prohibited.
While it was a hardworking town, it feels much more suited to tourists today.
Obviously, way back in the day, really meant something to the people here. But now it's just tourist
Just
status now.
souvenir shops. What'd you get?
Antique door shop.
Motion sickness pills?
Yes, sir.
Ferry rocked a little bit last night. There are 3 hours on land. I got 10,000 steps in. I guess that's it. Back onto the vessel for another 3 days. Ketchikan was like a teaser of what's to come in Alaska.
Let's see. Oh, shore, let's
Off
go
we
to the
again, with our
shore.
next stop not until tomorrow morning, which means we have nothing left to do this afternoon. So we settle in to our new routine. A little work, a little relaxation, watch an Alaska documentary, take in the scenery, do a little more work, and then the weather worsens. This is the most rocking we've experienced. It's not side to side, it's up and down, forward and back.
I'm trying to edit
I wouldn't care.
It's getting rocky for the first time. Wow. When there's no windows around, you can't see it coming.
Yeah.
And with very little to do during the day, dinner is always a treat.
It looks amazing.
When they loaded it up, I was like, let's go.
But there's always a little bit of excitement on the ferry.
Oh, yeah.
Whales, we gotta go.
Wow, there's more. It's like these whales have interrupted our dinner. But where else? This isn't a whale watching tour. This is a ferry. Wow, what a night!
Getting a little blue sky now.
And even when there's nothing to do,
The days fly by.
But I'm determined to go see as much of it as I can and bring you along, obviously. So this is Juneau, Alaska's capital city.
not only is Juneau the capital city of Alaska, but fun fact, it's also the second largest city in America by area. We know we want to see as much as we can in the 4 hours we have on shore, but the one thing we don't have is a plan.
This is the unexpected part of the trip. I didn't plan on being able to get off the boat. This is all bonus time. You know I love these bonus side excursions, side quests. We're not in town right now, so we have to see if we can get a cab. Do you have room for 3 to historic Juneau?
For Juneau.
Oh, okay, you're here for Gina.
Oh, Gina.
That'd be great. Well, we'll pay our share. Yeah, we'd love to go. Right, share?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Gina, I should say I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
We're going downtown.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want to do. Thank you.
Luckily for us, Gina had a plan. Gina called.
I'm gonna text. I wish I had a taxi.
Yeah, maybe we're calling it and permanent. By the way, plastic surgery trend is taking
It's
TikTok
1:30.
by storm. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it. It is a cosmetic procedure called buccal fat removal. It helps you get a more
Be a
chiseled
bitch?
face.
Okay.
I spoke with one plastic
How to be a
surgeon who said that
bitch.org. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's
Needs to be
a
a movie.
really interesting point, especially to underscore
Hoping our
the
kids
fact
stop
that
being
the
bitches.
systems that our kids rely on to get educated also rely on these screens. But then there's, of course,
No one cares about your kid being drunk. I don't care if my kid's drunk.
All new 911 Lone Star. Watch it anytime on Hulu.
It says Fox, dummy. Not Hulu.
Viruses are constantly changing. They're always evolving.
Come on. There's nothing good on TV anymore. I'm watching old Mythbusters just to watch something on TV because there's nothing good on TV anymore. Oh, what the hell? Yes, now because it's almost 1 o'clock.
In this train disaster, supposedly a sewer explosion sends manhole covers sky high. However, with their open-ended system, that wasn't the case, as the explosion took the path of least resistance. So for the next test, the Mythbusters are closing the sewer, and that's not as crazy as it sounds.
There are many places in which a sewer can become a closed system. You can have a large pipe that immediately makes a right angle turn into small pipe. Gases have a hard time going around corners like that when they're under pressure. You can have a part of the sewer above water with a bunch of the sewer underwater. All of a sudden that becomes a closed system.
But will a methane explosion in a closed sewer make the difference and send the manhole covers sky high?
In 3, 2, 1, go. On. Go.
Apparently, yes.
All the manhole covers went. It sounded cool too.
The high-speed referee proves that not only did the lids flip, but they got significant air.
Well, that worked pretty much exactly as we hoped it would. And here's what's going on in there. The reason those manhole covers start to fly before the fire even gets to them is that the fire is an expanding gas, and it is pushing air ahead of it, kind of like a piston. That piston is causing an increase of pressure, which is released by the manhole cover flying. That's what we wanted to see. Go.
The closed sewer scenario may have achieved manhole flight, but there's one more parameter for the guys to test inside their small-scale drain.
I'm making a mess for science. Mom, this is the way it's supposed to look.
That's right. They're adding debris, because more junk might lead to a bigger kerthunk.
Now you might be looking at this and thinking, how is your chamber full of springs and coiled wire anything remotely approaching a real-world scenario? How does that kind of blockage occur in a real sewer? Well, actually, it does. Real sewers have all sorts of things, like remnants of workmen working on them, spools of wire, ladders, equipment, things that washed into the sewer, different sizes of pipes in the sewer that actually change and constrict the airflow. This kind of thing can absolutely happen inside a sewer.
And with the springs providing 20% blockage, will they put a spring in the step of the manholes?
All right, here we go. Drain disaster, small scale, 20% obstruction, single ignition source, and 3, 2, 1, go.
The scattering of springs accelerated the burn for the most dramatic drain explosion so far.
Wow, look at that, how fast it moves.
I've never seen anything like that.
That is like a fireworks show.
That was amazing. So what's happening here? Well, if you look at the unblocked burn, you'll see that the flame front is taking up maybe, in this case, about 1/4 of a square foot. It's moving out spherically from the ignition source. But
not that into saving, are you? Whoa.
Jet fuel in a truck,
You
YouTube.
paid too much for those glasses. Next time, go to...
I said jet fuel. Close enough. Do not do this. We're trained jerks. And yes, we are wearing this helmet for safety reasons.
Yo! Welcome to the channel. Here we have this Honda 4Trax 300. I had one of these when I was a kid, so I just got one because the one I had lasted absolutely forever. I beat on it all the time. I actually did my first ever video when I was like 11 with one of these. I'll throw that in now.
Joseph Escobar, and I'm going to show you guys how to make it back to your vehicle in case of an emergency.
I made this one
It's
as
a
extra 10.
300cc manual, so it's not really that fast. It's just meant for like utility work and stuff. I don't know what they were thinking when they put these wheels and tires on there, because this thing couldn't drive over a barn even if it wanted to. These are wheels and tires for a monster truck project that we're working on right now for the Duramax. They are from an old fertilizer spreader. They are 36 inches wide, ridiculously huge. They're 350 pounds each. I actually have my doubts if the four-wheeler remove these. You might be a little concerned about these really tiny axles on the back of the four-wheeler, but don't worry, I can assure you that I'm concerned too, because we're gonna break them. We're gonna break that. We're even gonna break that. There's nothing you can do about it. So, we're gonna pull these off, and we're gonna fab up some adapters now. We're very careful here to cut a perfect circle out. What the?
I'm a trained asshole. Diesel's always been. I mean, Diesel does some of the stuff that Diesel does, and he acts like an idiot. He does make sure all the stuff is safe.
What if we have questions about our policy?
Diesel actually did interview Diesel. Yeah, hey, I want to talk to you guys. You're not talking like a group, are you? No. We're gonna. I'm here with Diesel here. Now, I want to ask you a question about literally what is the crap you. What's the most dangerous thing? I mean. That's a lie. 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 They're too damn expensive, so how can they be the best car in the world? Because they're so damn fucking expensive? 70 grand for a fucking car.
What's going on? My spool wasn't all the way tight. That's what's messing my beads up. That's why when I was laying the speed, it wasn't straight.
Put goggles on, you dummy.
For some reason, my spotter wasn't paying attention for that. I don't know what's going on there, but it might look a little rough.
I'm curious how this is gonna work. I keep those tires though. Why?
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Boosted launches with no wheels. This axle is absolutely massive now. The wheels are ready to bolt up. And maybe first, before we get started, you may be wondering about my pants here. So this is sort of a country boy version of those like zip-off pants. You never know when it might get hot. You just take a razor knife and cut the bottom half off. So I got a big stack of pants.
Look at those in Michigan. I'm surprised you guys put those on your truck. So.
Yes. Never gets old. Like, that is so awesome.
That is so janky.
That looks so beefy. Look at this. The tops of the tires is bridged over the top of the four-wheeler. If you were sitting on the back and you look over, you see tread spinning next to you. Like, that is just ridiculous. Holy crap. One wheel is like as big as the whole four-wheeler.
Now, Diesel does some crazy
So
shit.
I have two lug nuts on each side here, so that should be more than enough. So we'll see how much sag we get here.
None.
That didn't even settle like a quarter of an inch, guys. Okay, they're bolted up. This is completely free spinning this distance here. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. It's getting pretty late, so we're gonna park it in the barn here. And I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. We're gonna come out tomorrow and we're gonna break literally everything we possibly can. So see you in the morning.
What the fuck? It's moving.
It was so hard to move.
Yeah, you're clear. You won't even touch it. Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah, not even touch it. What's going on? Nothing? Am I hitting it? No? You're fine. It felt like I hit it. Oh. Oh, that's okay. See? That was over there. Whoa, what the heck?
What the hell? It doesn't work. The steering's shot.
Yeah.
Oh my god. so I had the run switch turned to off here.
I need to find a bucket to raise.
No brakes.
Alright, so four-wheeler got so scared of our tank tops, it's pissing everywhere. Oh, that's oil. Oh, let it down! There we go. We can't get it to steer. We're just gonna Pro Eagle jack. That's on to break those axles. Oh, God. Operator. Yeah. So I got this four-wheeler. It's a Honda 4Trax. Got a couple weeks up here. It's got it home on it, and absolutely terrible. No, they're not oversized. No, I put them on it, and I put the foot-long spacers on it. Yeah, foot-long spacers. I put those on it, and I don't have any power. It's not steering. No, they're not oversized. Listen here. You listen here. Okay, so it's not working at all, buddy. No, it's only like 9 feet wide. What do you mean my warranty's void?
We got all three of us on here.
Alright, so as you just saw on the road, we're kind of getting used to the handling here. I didn't realize how difficult it is to steer, since on a four-wheeler, the rear end is posi, so it's like a welded diff. So it's extremely difficult to steer. We gotta do like 20-point turnarounds wherever we go. See how it does on the trails.
Don't get ran over, Nick.
This thing has a ridiculous amount of torque. Like, it is turning these really well once it gets up to speed. Like,
All the haters on there.
just looking at some haters.
Thank you guys already, so I don't do
Once
anything.
you get moving, you can't stop at all. This thing is creaking and groaning, just like I'm driving a tractor. Everything under here is like not good. Should say the four-wheeler is sounding insanely bad. I can imagine what this four-wheeler is going through right now. So I'm just gonna put it in fifth gear, and we're just gonna dump it full throttle.
That looks so dirty, so. Oh, what? My God, what the hell?
Everybody's gonna love today, gonna love today, gonna love today. Everybody's gonna love today, gonna love today. Anyway, you go.
To all the loves in your life this Valentine.